Welcome to our panel. We will be discussing important issues. I'm Kasia Nicholson. I work on design and implementation of medical innovation at Sano, here in Kraków International Research Institution, Foundation, not a firm, this is a not-for-profit organization dealing with computational medicine. And today I have a pleasure, and I'm delighted to ask questions to our panelists, and I'm going to introduce everybody. So, Dr. Rafał Jóźwiak, head of the Innovation Center for Digital Medicine, National Information Processing Institute. Welcome, Rafał.
Good morning.
Next to Rafał, we've got Monika Ślęzak, coordinator of Industry Contact Point Medical Technologies and Health, Łukasiewicz Research Network, PORT, Polish Center for Technology Development, Wrocław.
Good afternoon.
Yes. And we've got Andrzej Ryś, Director of Health System, Medical Products and Innovation, the Director General for Health and Food Safety at the European Commission, a medical doctor by background who specialized in radiology and public health, founder of the Center for Innovation and Technology Transfer at Jagiellonian University. Welcome. We've got also Ziemowit Ostrowski, Director of CFD at HemoLens Diagnostics, Associate Professor at the Silesian University of Technology. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
We've got Professor Aneta Undas, Head of Department of Thromboembolic Diseases at the Institute of Cardiology at Jagiellonian University Medical College in Kraków.
And Director for Science, Research and Innovation Affairs at the John Paul II Hospital and Chair of National Science Center Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here. We've got also Kazimierz Murzyn, Managing Director of the LifeScience Kraków Klaster and the President of Sano Foundation Council.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome, everybody. Okay, so we don't have much time, so let's jump quickly to our topics. So if you need cutting-edge protein structure, you will ask AI to produce it. But if you want to see a fax machine, you will probably go to hospital where it's stuck under piles of papers because AI is not spread evenly. AI systems don't place nicely. They are not very good at making us to trust them. So the confidence is low. Sometimes also there is the problems with bias, and we tend to focus on the negative. So there is a huge problem with scaling these technologies, despite the fact that we've got solutions that could be implemented, but we can't really see them working in the healthcare system. So my first question is, why we can't see those solutions implemented? Why we've got the problem with scale? And is it right to say that this is because the character of this technology, or rather funding and money? What do you think? And maybe I start with Monika. Monika, what's your intuition here?
Actually, I must say that I see as being a coordinator of several European projects and talking to Polish entities trying to put into market their products. I see that there is a problem with the upscaling of the ideas. So you can still find some seed funding for initiating or doing this first few steps with your idea. But when it comes to upscaling and the collaboration and validation of your idea in the hospital settings, then we see more and more struggles, not only with the funding itself, but also in terms of the collaboration schemes between public and private partnerships. Like, for example, hospitals, that you need them to validate your ideas. And also what I experience and I hear from the inventors is the problem also in terms of the regulation. So right. the steps that they have to take with their innovative ideas to put them to the market. Yeah. These three are the main. Maybe you have other
Well, maybe Zhemovit, because you've got the privilege to see, the practical side of implementation, especially at HemoLens. Would you say why there is a problem with, uptaking and scaling the solutions?
I think that the problem can be identified as twofold. First is financing of the development of the new products, new novel products. That financing should cover also clinical evidence. And the other problem is regulatory as well. That's a kind of hard step for startup companies that usually we should. The startup companies does not have the resources, and usually we have to go further and get help from other companies. That costs money as well. So, funding to get the product ready, get the evidence, and then a regulatory step to be done. On the very sophisticated technologies, medical technologies, the problem is also reimbursement of the procedures. You can only go to the markets where they are reimbursed, because otherwise, like in cardiology, no one will pay for this procedure unless it is reimbursed. So this is another step to push to convince both medical society, medical doctors, both patients to believe in the new methods, and both to put politics to finance those procedures. That would give a big kick to the new procedures if they get reimbursement.
Yeah, so
maybe I may comment, because benefits from AI for most of us clear, and quite visible. In the US, you may see huge hospitals with 2 radiologists, with 2 guys looking under microscope what is going on, let's say an histological examination. And this is now 2024, so we are a bit outdated. So I think that we should test these AI strategies in Polish environment, and then, if effective, we may think about implementation. And I agree that if we may show some reduction in spending just on a healthcare system, we may be even, maybe not a leader, but in the front row, let's say, the implementation of AI. I think that testing in a Polish hospital is possible. However, there is no, I think that general plan, even at in the governmental level. I think that our government should be more active to promote this, just to reduce the cost of healthcare system. This is not this kind of thinking, at least now. From the hospital level, I think that we should be very active to encourage, to test this. If it works, let's implement it at least at some level.
Yeah, but
if I could add one thing, it's not only the reduction of cost, but it could also improve the better distribution of available funds. So the diagnosis put us to the proper distribution and avoid unnecessary treatment. Or procedures.
Right, because I don't think that currently we've got the system that is benefiting when we are cutting the cost. It's rather opposite, more procedures, more money, right, for the institution. So this is, cutting costs for industry. That's the main argument of implementing AI. But, healthcare is very different. Those systems are designed in a way that cutting costs might not be the first thing that they want to hear, because actually more people you have in the hospital, more tests you're doing, that's how you claim the money, right? So that's the tricky bit. Would you agree?
the rule is that the patient goes first, then costs. So it's most important change and most important, let's say, factor for any type of implementation is how this will, it should be, how this will help the patients. And then maybe it may cut costs or maybe improve something else.
But you know, it's I will continue with radiology example, which Professor Undas brought. You know, what's happened in radiology. It's a field I did work in radiology many years ago, but of course I am still connected to this world. And what's happened during all these let's say 20, 30 years. You know, we got more machines, more pictures. We train more radiologists, but you know, you can go to Japan and you see that, you know, this country with the highest number of machines producing pictures, they of course continue to train radiologists, but of course the gap is growing. So the only gap which can really help to read all these pictures and connect pictures, you know, in different databases is AI or IT solutions. So we are not even thinking now here about the cost reduction, but basically allowing, you know, readability of something which is done. So this is not only cost but also effectiveness of the system. But one maybe word about this innovation, you know, where we can go. You know, when it was recently published a study about what doctors want, you know, in the new era of technologies. So the one of things I would like to add to the discussion, you know, they say there are too many things happening, and they want to have catalog of softwares or digital solutions they are allowed or they are welcome to use. You know, so basically we have to be also careful about the, you know, as in any revolution, too many things happening. And even for experts, it's not possible to follow this development. But if you want to spread this to the kind of normal, regular doctor, it's already a big job. And the very last point about the institutionalization of the innovation. In the Dutch government, a few months ago, more than a year ago, they decided to form the kind of center or institute for innovations, with helping with the incubation of innovations. So basically, if companies pass the kind of step of development, can go there, and this solution is somehow developed together with a group of hospitals, and for example, your company can work with the groups, which is defined by this. And it's a relatively new thing in Europe. But I think it would be good to follow up this Dutch example, because it seems as a maybe answer to this one of this dead valley, not money, but rather access to the innovators, because doctors finally, you know, are innovators in the end.
No, absolutely. And with new tools, you need new skills, right? So the cost may actually go higher because you need to sometimes take the doctor on site and explain how things work and test and validate. Well, we also touched upon the perspective that America takes, and I've got the comment here from Professor Furman of the Practice of Economic Policy at Harvard, and he says, the biggest challenge with artificial intelligence is that we don't have enough yet. Regulations should aim to help solve the problem. He goes ahead and says that technology is still developing, and the European Union's heavy-handed AI rules have impeded progress there. As the US debates regulation, we should avoid these mistakes. Are we really that bad? Will the European health data space truly revolutionize healthcare? And can we then be leaders and create things here? And as Professor Undas said, then take them maybe to the States. Right now we're doing it differently. You know, startups are starting in Silicon Valley and then bringing the solution when it's validated, tested, and working and off the shelf. So this question about the regulations, I think that maybe Andrzej will start answering, and then you can join.
Yeah, you know, it's a typical question to Brussels bureaucrat. You know, you are over-regulating. Or you are wrongly regulating, or you are regulating too early. this is the challenge, which we face when we discuss AI Act, for example.
Right.
It's Professor Ann Batford, who is from Columbia University, but he's Finnish lawyer who went to US. She wrote the book, which is called Brussels Effect. This was about the way GDPR changed the debate around privacy, not only in the U.S., as you most probably have seen, in the American Senate when this debate this was brought, by leaders of American companies also to the political debate, but also even in China, or in Asian countries, people started to think about the data privacy as an important part of our values as a humanity, not as a Chinese or American or Europeans. So I think it's possible, but also what she's concluding, in the debate I was lucky to watch, a year ago in Oxford. She also says, our problem is not creation of innovation, but or innovative legal solution, because I think we have relatively good ideas, but the implementation of the solutions. And this also was confirmed recently by our vice president when she was asked this very similar question. She said, designing the solution or regulatory solution is already job itself. Negotiating with 27 member states, different kind of political interests. Of course, industry is also involved in this around the table. But the challenge is the implementation, because we are speaking about not the vision of regulation, but about the behavioral change. So for example, to give you an example, in the health data space, which is going into force, in a few weeks. We just finished the cleaning of the legal text, and politically is agreed. It will be published in the official journal in most probably after New Year. So this will open the navigation map, but it will not change the way, doctor in the John Paul II Hospital will be convinced to write the right data to the medical record, because this is behavioral change. It's almost a question. In the Hippocrates, we don't have the phrase that we have to be accurate in the creating the data about patients, but this is almost the need today, because the data are changing the world.
My comment is that indeed at our hospital we have quite sophisticated database as compared to other hospitals. Yeah, so we've got actually really good first step to the digital health, in the sense that most of our medical data are actually in the very systematic way provided, and it's relatively easy to get some information from our database. So in my opinion, our hospital is especially good prepared for such test, let's say, AI in practice, especially in radiology and histopathology. This, in my opinion, the first fields in which AI could be very efficiently used, just to make diagnosis faster. This is also important for our patients. Yeah.
But then, if I can comment on what you said, do you feel like your hospital is ready? But the problem that is discussed also among the European countries is, what about the interoperability between the hospitals? Not only between countries, but within the countries. We know already, and facing that problem in Poland, although we are really advanced in terms of IT solutions for managing the data of patients and electronic health data, as you mentioned, still the problem is between sharing this information between different hospitals. And that was EHDS all about, to also help patients to find a solution, if not in their home country or town, to search for the solutions in other countries in Europe. And here the question is, we will have the regulation, as you said, which is great, but the question is how the European member states address this issue of interoperability, sharing the data and exchanging them, and giving the path for the patients to use the healthcare systems in other countries?
For sure, differences are huge, even within one country and between countries. I think that Andrzej agrees that it's very hard to get a well-balanced approach to how to implement this solution. I don't know if we could be forced to do it.
This will be basically what will happen. I mean, there's European regulations, so it means in practice it's coming into force, directly to the national laws. Poland is now facing, as other countries, the implementation phase. We have like 4 years basically to implement the solution. There are 15 technical acts that will help with, for example, exchange format, about the minimum standardization of the coding system and so on. But give you an example. The one of idea is to implement the SNOMED, which is the coding system for the clinical evidence or clinical coding. To France, I remember when they decided to implement 2 years ago, the first problem was, how many experts in France they have to help with this, and it was, not many. So we to prepare, such change, we have to work all together. It's even in the area of radiology, when we have relatively agreed standards and storage and exchange formats, which took a while for industry to agree, but we still are facing, many challenges. Pathology is other example also. So the growing fields of collection data, so we have to make sure that we can exchange format, but also security is a big issue. Cybersecurity is coming as additional big layer of the problems. But as you said, with one hand we should the legislation is helping to create, to kind of not create, because the rights exist in GDPR. Patient is the owner of data. This is black and white. And also in this place we should say this: not the hospital. The patient is the owner of data. And this also is all kinds of debate between lawyers, but this is the fact. But how to get access to data, this is of course more tricky problem. But the second issue is the use of secondary data, and this I think is the biggest challenge for Europe, because if Europe want to be competitive, and this is the aim of the current Commission, which is starting on Sunday, 1st of December. One of the areas competitiveness. With Europe, our life science industry, our medtech industry wants to be still, in the front runner. We are still good, but we are. But you see the picture. China is growing. You see we're a Chinese university now on the rankings, and there have been 10 years ago. Anita, you are following development in China, and I when I see this, I was in Shanghai 10 years ago, and this was it was different picture. Now the Chinese university, they're on top, 20. So it's a world.
So we are referring to that Marco Draghi report, yeah? So this from September about competitiveness in Europe, some ideas, some thoughts about funding institutions, and not only individual scientists. It's quite interesting approach, and I know I've been 2 days ago in Brussels, and I met President Maria Leptin, the ERC president, and she said that there's a lot of controversy among member person whether this competitiveness plan could be really valid. Yeah, so people don't want the huge potent countries like Germany, they like it, and smaller countries are skeptical about this. So even within European Union, we are not uniform in sense what we should do to be more competitive. However, digital health is a good example how to implement this to be more competitive. Without this, it would be very hard, at least in life sciences, obviously.
But truly speaking, if I shortly comment, there is also our role, I think, to build that new trust, yes, to the secondary use of the data, yes. And some good news is also, I was also discussing about HDS in Personal Protection Data Office, yes, there was a conference, yes, and the good news is that even they're not against. They understand that there is a big change, and I heard a very new perspective, which is for me very fascinating, yes, that in that new age which we are living, age of AI, when AI can help with better diagnosis, providing diagnosis faster, giving patients better outcomes and so on, yes, looking for our constitutional rights, which we have, right to health protection, to equality, yes, not providing access to data to develop new things which are for people is against our laws, yes, that we need to provide that mechanism, explaining also the role of that, of course, building a trust, providing, of course, all legal aspects and so on, yes, but that need to exist, yes, and something which is, I think, good is that everyone is now aware, yes, that we need to use that data, that secondary use of data need to exist, yes, and that's something which will appear, I hope, quickly.
If I can go on that thought, what you said, actually, education, you mentioned something about the trainings and whether the medical doctors can uptake the innovations. I think it's all about the awareness and education. And I think that here is the chance also, or the challenge for us as a scientist, but also I think in terms of the education, to really bring that on the table, not only to the staff in the hospital, because we know that this is also a very blocking factor for the nurses, which are over, like the average is over 50 years old. Yes, so to teach them how to use it, because if you don't know something, you will be reluctant to take it. And the same for medical doctors. If they are overwhelmed with the thousands of new revolutionized AI programs for analyzing of the images, they don't have time to select the best one. They need to have the support that will show them what is the best way to move forward. And the last but not least, the society. And we should not forget, when implementing the EHDS, to think about the education of the citizens, because these are, as you mentioned, their data, and they are the owners, and this is their decision. And if we do not make this work and do this work to make them aware what is the profit for them, they might be really reluctant to use them and to give them for the secondary use, for the innovation and their science. So I think that we know that there are some innovations even conducted by EIT Health, like deep tech innovation, deep tech skill talent, where you can get some free education trainings for not only as a scientist, but also as a medical doctor or the healthcare staff. So we should also promote this type of activities and think on our own, how can we educate to use our innovations?
Yeah, thank you. So we started with problems. We've got some solutions. So one of it is education. The other one is regulation, I agree, and creating collaborations around certain problems that will then enable us to maybe have a sustainable impact on sorting out the problems. Zimowit, I have a question for you. So we're talking about data. You use, obviously, data to develop the products. How do you see it from the perspective of a company that is actually developing solutions based on the data that you've got through your collaborations? How does that work? Is the data everything that you need? Is the data, the problem with the data to, clean it, prepare it for developing then models? Where are the, hurdles, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, indeed, we use the data provided by clinicians to validate ideas first, then validate the products. The problem that we can see is that my company is dealing with a very targeted solution that needs very precisely defined set of data. So the problem is that these kind of sets are practically not available as a retrospective data. We mostly have to make new trials, new experiments, new protocols, and what we are facing with is also we need to train properly the clinicians to make the data complete for us. Mm-hmm. We have quite a large, not a large, but a lot of data sets are excluded because of some lacking, missing data, or not fully saved or fully recorded.
The quality, right?
The quality. Yeah, of course, it's not that bad. It's good, but it happens statistically. It must happen, but from the company side, we should put a lot of effort to prepare clinicians to fulfill our requirements. That might happen that our requirements are too high. For daily clinical practice, but to provide data precisely to validate product, to make a clinical evidence, we need those detailed, properly and complete data.
Your system is the system flexible? You could just adjust the system just for a special requirements of a given center. I'm thinking about the practical part of the implementation. This is one system, and clinician should follow the rules. Are you prepared for changing something?
It's open in that sense that we can accept data from different manufacturers of CT scanners, of course, but that we can say it's open.
But can you describe the type of a hospital in which you had already implemented?
My company, Homolens Diagnostics, we need cardiologist intervention.
No, I'm asking the type of hospital where you have already implemented. Do you have such an implementation?
No, we have not implemented the product yet.
Did you manage to test in some kind of a hospital?
Yeah.
And what kind of hospital that was?
That were both municipal hospitals, university clinics, both the leading institutes of cardiology in Poland.
Yeah, it's cardiovascular disease.
We have several contacts. We have multi-site trials ongoing.
Yeah.
So one issue, it's I'll give you one example which I like. I hope we will develop this kind of approach in John Paul and also in other places. John Paul Hospital, and it's in Erasmus Medical Center, which is the really number one, place, holding many European projects, but also running a lot of interesting innovations in Rotterdam. They discovered, a number of years ago that the companies are coming and requesting data, or they want to start, look with the new devices, for the kind of test, how this device work in the environment of hospital in Rotterdam, and of course it started to be like too many requests. So they said, okay, we have to organize this, different ways. So now there is a system that's called Smart Health Center. So when you come there, you can go there and you can say, okay, I have this protocol, I have this idea. So the second they will first look for the individual clinician who is interested in such solution, such project. Second, of course, the clinician also should confirm that data are available, because not every data exists in the hospital. But what is interesting is this way they utilize first the data they have already there. Second, they are trapping, innovative solutions, not only from Europe, but also from other parts of the world. And thirdly, they're using them in effectively their own patients' population. So, for me, establishment of such center, and of course, you have right people in this place, speaking at this center. Yesterday, I spoke to the students of you, speaking about the Technical University here. And and they are in the job in the program called bioinformal, how we call this, engineering, and so we have such people, we have such talents, and we need just install them in the right place in the hospital setting to allow the some help of because things are not happening. You know, I know that you go to the hospitals. Next question is to whom you speak. Are you allowed? This person is allowed to speak. What will be the outcome of this? Is director aware of this? Maybe somebody is even scared to speak to you because it could be seen whatever wrongly, you know. So I think these things could be organized. Of course, it's not free of charge. You're in Netherlands. It's not in gulden, it's in euros. But the price sometimes is quite reasonable, at least what I was told. So I think it's. I also invite, you know, that our companies, you also should look for the partners not only in Poland. Those partners also exist in Europe, and just be in positive mode. You know, if we will have functioning European data space, you can request data from one point in Poland, and through Polish data hub, which hopefully one day will be created. First, they will search for you in the data catalogs in Poland, and also to be able to search for data in other parts of Europe.
Yeah, for sure, such kind of hubs, consortium, whatever you name it, it's perfect. Yeah, we do have contacts in Netherlands. We have our own company in Netherlands as well, so we take advantage of partially, perhaps, of this system that you mentioned.
Right.
In case of data, yes, we talk about the data, which are of course crucial here. Yes, it's not just a problem to get access to data. It's not just a problem to get high amount of data, but the problem is to have a data of a good quality. Yes, that's something which is the most important here, and we have something which happened in Poland in that sense, yes, because we observe now creating of digital centers, yes, sponsored by ABM with grants, yes. So in Polish institution, we will have very soon dedicated centers, yes, which are able to prepare data which are good quality, which are properly labeled. And of course, something which should exist is that a little bit what Andrzej mentioned, yes, info about that data, so the metadata, yes. If we now have many centers which can good prepare the data, we have metadata which allows quickly compare which data we have in different places, yes. Now, what we need, it will be a good founding, yes, which allows to build consortia between companies, between academia, and between that medical centers which provide high quality data. And okay, we focus on that medical topic, we get the best data set, yes, and we start working together, yes. So ecosystem we start building, yes, and that's something good, that's something which happened at that moment, yes. Don't waste that, yes, and with regulation from EHDS, future I think can be good.
Yes, Rafał, you are touching upon the next area of our questions which connect to ecosystem. But just to summarize, what I'm hearing here is that new technology, but old problems, and those problems are connected to management, right? And behavioral science almost, rather than technology. So how to manage, how to organize, how to make it efficient. So creating ecosystems, it's the task also that Klaster is taking upon. So I wanted to ask maybe Kazimierz right now. So from your perspective, building ecosystem that connects lots of very different organizations, very different people. How do you feel over the years how it's changing and how it's helping with AI adoption in healthcare?
When we started developing the ecosystem as a cluster initiative, we didn't talk at all about AI. AI came to us I must say recently. This is last year maybe when we started using something, and now everybody is talking about that. And we are rather struggling with the other types of problems with digitalization of the hospital than AI in this moment. Talking about the ecosystem, because what is as we talk about the ecosystem, the most difficult part for us, from our experience, is actually get hospitals in this ecosystem working together with us and focus on innovations. Because the hospitals are so occupied with the regular activities. I know the only person, Professor Reneta, which is the director which deals with innovation in the hospitals. The other hospitals don't have this type of position. When we started our activity years ago, and we visited, for example, Uppsala region, when we learned about what they are doing, we learned, for example, that in these hospitals there are programs. Actually, our program, which is in a regional innovation scheme, which is called not a program, but domain, which is a regional innovation scheme, which is called Innovative Hospital, is taken from the idea from Scandinavian hospital, where they've been running programs, sucking up the innovations from the people in the hospital, and then implementing them in the hospital for the benefit of the hospital, and then selling them also as well if the innovation was very interesting. And we tried to implement this type of thinking in the hospitals here, even in the John Paul II, but it was very difficult to find people who wanted to devote their time to engage in this type of activities. So we came back to the position that it's the technology is changing so quickly, and the hospital came through the many different other types of problems like pandemics, for example, to deal with the problems they never had, they never expected before. That this type of building ecosystem of innovative institutions that collaborate together is very, very difficult because of natural way we are proceeding. And yet another good example, Andrzej mentioned about this. MD in Rotterdam, but for example, there is yet another hospital in Holland in Leuven. And when we visited this hospital, we noticed that this is not a hospital, it's an ecosystem of innovations. That's the point. This is something we wanted to implement here, this type of thinking. But this is a thinking from the top of the hospital management. Yeah? That the hospital is both the source of the innovations and also recipient of the innovation. So it's a perfect place to start economic system as a central point of health innovations, not the side part of the innovation. That's the kind of observations we have, and we're trying to do something about that. Yeah?
If I can go to Leuven and take you there. Actually, we organized the study visit like 2 months ago in KU Leuven and in their hospital. And what you said, that's exactly the main point of the innovation. So it comes from the doctors who observe and see what are the needs they have in their everyday work. They see patients and they report it to the hospital management, who interacts with the private sector, inviting them for some kind of the challenge to solve the problem that they face in the hospital. And then the innovation comes back for validation in the same hospital. So they already can test it if it works. And that's how the money actually are circulated among hospitals and the private institutions, because this collaboration is very smooth thanks to that. And I think that what you mentioned, there are very good examples in case of implementing innovation in the hospital, in the ecosystem, and I think that these are the examples that we can try to implement here. And just to say that we are not so okay, we are far behind, but still there are very good initiatives in Poland when we think about the Mother-Child Hospital Challenge, that what they organize.
Exactly.
This is great initiative that shows that we can do it here.
And it comes from hospital, yeah.
Exactly. What's more, there are also Polish companies that can address these challenges, which also shows that we have this innovation here and we do not have to import it from abroad.
But one important thing with that, yes, with exactly Mother and Child Startup Challenge and Institute from Warsaw, which organized that, Mother and Child Institute. They started with that challenge. They also started with making inside Institute Department of Artificial Intelligence and Medical Technologies, putting people not to develop by themselves high quality deep learning application and so on, yes? That's not people for that. We have academia for that, yes? They put their people who are aware of technologies, who know what they need and who make a space, yes? We will find good initiative, good startups, yes, okay, we need your solution and we want to test it here, yes, and they make a space, yes, to try that technology here, yes, give them place and connect their needs, their hospital with new technology, yes, and that's that element which is missing, yes. We need to start with that awareness inside hospitals, yes, that we need to have such a departments, yes, which will be responsible for deployment new technologies in our hospital, yes.
Exactly, this is a center of innovation, not the side part.
Okay,
Yet another.
So go to reality, because I will challenge the professor on this. Okay, so how many people you can have under you working on innovation? Do you imagine, like Erasmus idea to have the smart health? I don't know how many teams they have. There's not huge teams, but few people. You mentioned Child and Mother Institute in Warsaw. They created this kind of small cell in the hospital. Do you imagine, or do you believe this is needed?
We don't have any dedicated people to deal with this kind of issue. However, looking at our team, I may say that 2, 3 guys are actually involved in this kind of activity, but it is only part of their tasks. However, this idea is quite inspiring. Obviously, this is related if there is money behind, yeah? So it is hard to persuade someone to invest in people if I don't have any perspective what I get in return, yeah? However, this is worthwhile considering.
But it's a little bit just the problem maybe of naming, yes, because they here there was a department, yes, but other hospitals which, for example, now develop regional digital centers, yes, that also might be the role of that digital center in that institution, yes, to exactly take also the role of the leaders in AI in sense of adaptation, yes, prepare data for AI, but also try to adapt technologies in your hospital, in your institution, when you know what's the need, yes, how this implementation should look like.
And to address the question where the hospital in Leuven takes money from, actually, if you have the startup that wants to validate their idea, they would have to pay to hospital anyway, yes? But for them, the added value is one thing is that they validate their idea, so they know that they can use it later on, but they have some kind of agreements when the startup wants to out-license the idea with the bigger pharma or medtech companies, that they also get involved in this process, meaning that they also would like to pay to hospital to make sure that the data they receive are valid, that you don't need to repeat anything for the regulatory purposes. So at the end, hospital gets the money actually from their idea. Yes, that it comes there.
For sure, we can be more active in this way, especially that the time is changing. Yeah, we are seeing AI everywhere. Yeah, so even if 1 or 2 years, someone may say, "Oh, this is a future. This is far away from Poland." Now this is happening here and November 2024. So I think that it is quite an inspiration, and maybe we should have such a dedicated center within our hospital, not as a part-time.
I can answer this question, Andrzej, very directly. 10 years ago, when we visited Karolinska, they had 2 people working on innovation. Their task was going around this hospital and looking what can be improved. And then this time, 10 years ago, they said they have already, I think that something like 5 patents from the discoveries they've made because there was a direct need in the hospital solved by people from the hospital.
Yeah. I think the students are ready to do this voluntarily to start. Are you ready? Hey guys. I'm not asking for drink for last night, but this is your chance, to come to Professor Undas and offer you a job, free of charge to start, Exactly. Voluntary is the beginning of the good things,
I agree that we would like to be more active in this kind of activities, and as I mentioned, at the end of January, maybe beginning of February, we plan a meeting. Yeah,
start talking about that. Yeah,
we discussed this, and for sure at the beginning of January we will send invitations all around, and you are invited to our hospital to show what you've got, what you would like to have from us, to see, and maybe some common ideas will be active. So for sure, this invitation is valid, and please we stay in touch. The invitation will be within 1 month available for everyone who is interested, and such a meeting will be organized. So maybe it will be a beginning of something quite interesting and inspiring for patients,
I'm glad that
for research.
I'm glad that it is inspiring. Yes, absolutely, Andrzej.
I am inspiring you because this is something we really have to focus on this a little bit. Because you said, Kasia, about the behavioral change. I would like to share with you other idea because in working on AI is also good to create a kind of feeling of belonging and delivering. And for example, in the European Medicine Agency, which is kind of important and relatively big institution, but they're running 37 small AI projects to help with the administration of the system. You ask myself, I ask myself when they told me 37 what they are doing. Yeah. I can tell you there are many processes that you can make better in quality, in timely kind of delivery, and so on, using the AI. And what is creating? It's creating the
ownership,
the change. That AI is not the first it exists. It's not in the somewhere there, but you can make. And then when you see the implementability of AI and acceptance of today, the highest is in the administrative area, because management and reducing the administrative burden on doctors, it's a first success story of AI already today. And I think, guys, developers, you exist somewhere there. We have to do it because again, most probably we are having one hospital today. Maybe you did try already with Institute of Mother and Child, but maybe is the first thing we have to show. It's changing already.
Yeah. No, through the examples, right? So at Sano, we also work with hospitals and clinicians, and I can see on a daily basis what I call alignment problem. So when we develop technologies, we tend to simplify the processes, the problems. We don't know them. So the only way to address the right problems and create value is to collaborate and almost co-create the solutions. And when we do so, then integration is easier and sustainability of the solution, because implementation is not one event, right? We create, implement, that's it. With AI especially, you need to monitor, you need to adjust. They are very flexible technologies. So what happens after we place the system is also very important, and we tend to act on what we see on the data. So we want to have a feedback. We want to see what is not working so we can fix it. But for that, we need trust, we need time, we need very different people at the table. And when you were talking, I was realizing that we are talking about business models, almost like business models. So the collaboration kind of methods that we can put in place so hospitals benefit quickly from the collaboration, and it needs to be real problems. Sometimes we hear about, trivial problems that, are around administration and managing the huge amounts of data that is not digitalized, right? In smaller hospitals especially. But I'm wondering right now about concrete, real examples. Maybe Professor Undas will help out here from her experience. So those solutions that show true impact on patients' treatment, diagnosis. Do you see in your hospital, or have any examples maybe that are dear to you, that put the benchmark high, and we can talk about them for a second now?
From the perspective of our hospital, obviously, we've got a quite solid database. We are using the information, for instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we are quite effective to draw, for instance, data on the association between different treatment strategies or thromboprophylaxis strategy in the context of the effect. There was integration of imaging data with laboratory investigations, and we were able to generate quite extensive amount of data, some published, some only to share with other hospitals what's going on. However, still we are not effective in the sense to use this data to something innovative. And moreover, we need some support only in the terms of softwares. And I think that that we just recently started some more intense collaboration. So we hope that after this meeting, if we collect our physicians who are interested in some solution, as we said, someone who has any need, and there is a request, and maybe the reply will be provided by someone. So I think that now we are at the level of creating some platform to exchange ideas, needs, and hopefully after 1 year we will be able to provide some solution even for tiny tasks. So we are prepared to do something more. However, still we don't have enough know-how to implement this, especially AI solution on a larger scale.
I think also, if I may add, that because we focus so much on hospital today, but we should not forget that we would like to keep patients out of the hospital. We have a number of chronic patients also in the cardiology field or pulmonary field, when we would like them to stay as long as possible at home, under advice of the solutions we provide from the hospital, knowing that also patients, and there are a number of ideas how to do it. There are already many solutions in this field, also based on AI. And I think I think it's important that especially leading hospitals, like for example, John Paul II Hospital, with a very experience in many fields of cardiology. I used to be the patient there as well, so I know what I'm talking about. But I also was in the Louvain, so I can tell you this is also interesting experience comparing the Belgium and Polish approach. By the way, the Belgium, they decided to coming back to your point about the reimbursement. When one of the Belgium startup developed excellent tool for monitoring patients with the cardiac problems. In my case, it was arrhythmia. They were able to connect not only hospital, which was by the Louvain, as a leading in this time, but they of course put all hospitals, cardiology units in network. But they offered this to the patients. The next problem was how to connect to your cardiology. And I can tell you, I watched my cardiologist, who is not working anymore in the hospital, but she was having her private place. It was very interesting, completely different dynamic, how it's changed the way patients are interacting with the doctor. Because patient got the signal that something is wrong. And so she started to see more patients with serious problems and less patients with a more panic attack, so I think it's so we should not forget that we are speaking about a human being who is moving from hospital to back home, then maybe to the long-term care if needed, or to the GP, family doctor. So let's don't forget that those solutions can be hospital-based if needed. But also should be looked for the bigger system.
Yeah. So we've got devices that can be used also at home and monitored through the system, and telemedicine is thriving. Let's put some numbers here into the perspective. So the US Food and Drug Administration has updated the comprehensive list of AI-enabled medical devices. Any guesses how many we have so far?
Thousands.
Yeah, 950, which doesn't sound that
impressive. We didn't
yeah. But there is a steep growth in that. However, when the analysis was gathered, it occurred that those that were accredited couldn't show the data from the validation. So there is lots to do to prove that actually, you know, this FDA is guaranteed for the devices that can also back up the data, clinical data, and show how they've been validated.
Kasia, but also we should, I think, refer to the same article.
Yeah.
I keep it in my head that most of those solutions are in the radiology
or cardiology, yes,
field.
Absolutely.
And it's also true that those two specialties are most, I think, advanced.
Of course.
I'm not speaking because of my cardiologist, but it's true. We see this also in different European projects.
Yes.
But I think we should not forget the most probably, you know. When I discuss in situ time with my team, you know, always the innovative solutions, they usually don't sit in the place everybody is innovative. So let's look also, you know, go out of the comfort zone, out of the square, and look for the solution when we can make change and also show this evidence that change is happening, like behavioral science, like you know, the way, you know, we are able to work with the patients, with the families. And then, you know, I can pick up obesity as an example, you know what we can do more.
Or psychological problems with youth and children, of course. If anybody's got the question, you know, this is the time we would like to maybe hear from you, or in a sec. We're gonna approach the end of our conversation soon. But there are also, you know, topics around ethics, of course, of AI. I didn't want to leave it at the very end, but well, I wanted to start from the elephant in the room, which is funding. But yeah, let's go and hear some very interesting comments from two scientists. So one is Timit Gebru, previously in Google. She said, AI doesn't care about fairness, equality, or ethics unless we program it to do so. And the other one by Fei-Fei Li, AI in healthcare is not just a tool, it's a partner that could redefine how we approach medicine. Do you agree? Do you think that we should treat AI?
What's funny in this question, and what can be observed when you speak with people, that we treat AI as a person, so that it thinks whatever, it behaves as a person, has its own intelligence. But it's only tool we are making. It's just a software.
We are for tool.
Well, predictive algorithms can be tool, but if we start getting into conversation and building relationship through asking questions and answering them, then we're building up relationship that I think goes beyond the tool, because those tools are showing us what's true for what's not, giving us the answer sometimes when we don't know how this answer is being given to us. Can we sacrifice the efficiency and have just the answer and then we can act on it, or do we have time to analyze the steps and you know, make it slower, but we know what happened. So I think that there are different solutions that are more advanced than the others.
I would challenge, you know, you, because, you know, of course I really trust, you know, there's still humanity, not AI so far. This is my personal judgment. So I still feel that humanity has right, you know, to keep the control of AI, and this is what is basically is in AI Act. And what is interesting, I think this is something what we discussed one day. The AI Act is a regulatory tool, but the AI Act was developed. It started not from the lawyers; it started from ethics. Before it was put, you know, in the legal kind of drafting, there were the commission of experts, you know, from with a lot of from the ethical background, you know, debating what we would like to have in this area. And this is maybe the great things about Europe, that we are running also because we have the values, and we should keep those values, you know, before we decide many things. So this is my feeling about the ethical things.
Yes, and as robots in healthcare becoming more autonomous, do you think that we should also put the regulations that, making sure that there is a human in a loop, or that's something that shouldn't be regulated and should be up to the person who is using the system? So automation and no human in the loop, just automation of tasks, or we should really make sure that there is overlooking clinician or another medical professional that is, supervising the use of the device.
Being consistent, actually, if I said this is only software, to the very end, this is only software, it has to be regulated the same way like any other tools like cars. It's better if everybody follows the rule that cars are driving on the right side, yeah, because otherwise it will be mess.
Yeah, but also, again, going back to the law, letter of law, Brussels speaking, in the AI Act, is putting the health care solutions to the high risk. This pyramid of the risks is on the highest risk, and of course, there are kind of instruments, how we control, and this oversight by humans is there. But of course, the AI could be also in different levels of solutions. Of course, when this will go to the administrative support or the decision support on the kind of lower risk, it could be used. So we should not mix up.
Right.
And so far, to my knowledge, most of solutions are showing that AI is, because this is famous, papers since 2 years. AI won against doctors, against radiologists, pathologists, psychiatrists. But in the end, when you go deeper to the studies, you will show that the best solution is the way AI is doing its job. But then you have the again improvement because of oversight by the well-trained doctors. Of course, we should say, that doctors should be very well trained. It's not that you get the average doctor, and we should not forget doctors and whole healthcare professionals. Continue education is needed. We are not competing with AI, so we're competing with ourselves, with humans.
Absolutely, Monica.
I just wanted to comment on what you said. That I know that
just a moment. I just want to say the professor has to go. I think he was very nervous. So maybe you want to say some kind of final word.
Take-home message.
Final word about the quality of training.
Yes, education is of foremost importance, and good doctors supported by the AI solution will cure patients better, faster, and more efficiently. So I wish all of us to have a good AI solution in everyday practice, in outpatient clinic and in hospital.
Thank you, Professor Rondas. Yes.
To continue what actually Professor Rondas said, that actually yesterday I talked to one of the professors from the Medical College of Jagiellonian University who actually described one of their European projects when the aim is to really adjust the educational tool to teach future medical doctors how to connect the dots of the different sources of the data, where, as he really nicely described, some of these dots are now electronic, so to say, or this virtual data coming from different IT tools, how to connect the dots using this reasoning, and not forgetting that at the end of the day, the responsibility is on them. Yeah, so there will be, absolutely. I don't expect that at some point we'll put the responsibility of some medical failures on the AI. Yeah, it will be the doctor who used that. So when you ask if it will be taken over, I don't think. I mean, at least in the healthcare, as you mentioned, it might be always this human.
Hopefully we will stay in the loop, right? Okay, well, if we have no questions, I can't see it. Oh, no, we do have. Will you be able to say it out loud, or do we have somebody with the mic?
I have a microphone.
You have a microphone. Excellent. Thank you.
If I would be so adventurous as to open a startup in Poland in half a year, would it be likely that I will find the data of this famous database from Jagiellonian John Paul II in the EHDS already for free? will I have finally have some kind of guideline in GDPR, how I get a seal that I'm GDPR compliant as a startup, so that I can demonstrate that to the hospitals? And will I have some guidelines how I get some kind of what I have to fulfill in order to get reimbursement in all the 27 markets? Will there be some guidelines from the EC to help me achieve that?
Who's going to answer?
My guess is that you will go through very turbulent process to get access to this data. No. Then the data most probably will be not, as you said, not prepared the way that you want to have, but this, of course, is something to be checked. But concerning our approach as a commission, we would be good for you to have a look on the so-called pilot of secondary use of European data space, which is run by French data hub, because France already has data hub, same like Finland, like Denmark. So there are not many countries, they already have this system. When you can in Finland, you will have it. In Finland, you go to the Finnish data hub. The system is very digitalized. Same in Denmark, and you will get this relatively easy. It's not also totally easy, because this is, for example, the administrative burden on them. They have the queue and so on. But this is possible now. So we also plan, and this is under many projects. They are under the heading of the European Data Space, especially TEDAS 2, which is the member states' work to create a number of guidelines, also for the secondary use of data. So we will see this as we speak. But my advice to member states, I hope we'll discuss also in a few days in Warsaw, is that the implementation should be programmed. It will not happen by chance. It's something
absolutely
we have to do. And I hope this discussion, at least in this place, will help us with it.
Andrzej, correct me if I'm wrong. There are like 4 years for the implementation. Yes.
Yeah,
so
critical.
If you ask about half a year period, I would not expect to have it here. Secondly, as you mentioned, the infrastructure is not ready. So again, it's first on member states to make sure that the infrastructure is ready to uptake those data. And for third, you mentioned TEDAS 2, and if I'm correct, in January, end of January, there will be a conference in Warsaw focused on European health data space. So I think that if you have this plan to set up the startup, I would also really get into this news that will be incoming, and also like some kind of lobbying or pushing, because I think that it needs to come from the innovators, that they need them, and to force the government somehow to really that it is important. And the more time we spend on discussion, not on implementation, that cause us to be at the end of the European Union.
Yeah, thank you very much. I saw one more hand somewhere. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. That was really my privilege, and thank you for answering all the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, the audience. Well done.
Thank you.